Good morning, everybody. Orange J here with another War of the Visions video, and today we're going to talk about what is fast becoming my favorite PvE event in this game, surpassing maybe Trials of Reckoning for me, and that is guild raids. I'm going to show you some tips and tricks on how to build your team, including some very underused pieces of gear that really shine in this game mode. I'm going to tell you what you can do to the bosses to boost your score, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a guild tip here, especially if you're one of the heavier hitters in your guild. Let's start there. Now for me, I know that Valifor here and Unaleska would be two bosses that I could very easily get really good scores for. They're light and dark element, light and dark chaining teams. To fight them are like really easy to build, and I have no doubt I could get really high scores there. But I also know that everyone in my guild can as well, and especially for the people in my guild who don't want to put in as much effort as me, these are much easier team comps for them to build. They might just have some left over from last time. So as one of the people in my guild who can build, a water team, a fire team, an ice team, I'm going to focus there instead, leaving the easier fights to the rest of my guild who might not want to try as hard as me. I think that's a nice tip, especially if you're one of the sweatier players in your guild. Now, let's focus on a special little tip that the game gives us here that's a very nice quality of life addition. They go ahead and tell us here what you can do to these bosses in terms of slowing them down and manipulating their CT. Valifor, Shiva, and Defender Z are slowable. You're almost always going to want to do that. That's going to let you have more attacks in a row, which is all about building chains and getting those multi-hit max damage attacks. That is like the TLDR of how to get really high scores in this, is get more turns than the boss and get big chains built up where your multi-hit attacks are hitting the damage cap. Like, if that's all you need to hear, then you can go away. But I'm going to show you some tips on how to do that here in a minute. Okay, now Dark Flan and Unaleska are a little bit more interesting. Both of them can have their agility debuffed, which I think is generically a pretty good idea. They can also both have their CT down. This, if you're like Titus, this means his attack that knocks CT down will work, or it means Steal Time will work. And Steal Time, although an effective means of getting yourself higher chains, there's a certain point where it's actually not going to score you more points than just having another damage dealer in there. And that's what we're going to focus on here. I'm going to go into Dark Flan and show you a couple teams that I worked on stream today for beating this. I have a couple ice teams built up here. This one right here has Victoria in it for stealing time. My other one, which is party 18, has Aranea in here for debuffs and chaining. So let's start with the Steal Time team. Stealing time is a very easy way of increasing your chains and a very easy way of upping your total score. I would say this is the easier mode. Now to do this, you're going to want a lot of people with multi-hit attacks. So obviously Orin has Banishing Blade, it's a 2-hit attack. Velric has Drain, what's it called? Drain something. It's the Nightblade move. Drain Assault, it's a 3-hit attack. That's going to be one of my biggest scoring moves. Laswell, if you run him in his Heir to the Blade subjob, has Exercising Storm. It's a 2-hit attack. Gilgamesh does not have a multi-hit attack, but I give him the Exorcist Vision card for triple trick. So twice during this fight, he will have access to a 3-hit attack. I'm going to make sure I use those when I can hit damage cap with them. And then Victoria is here for two things: debuffing the boss and stealing time with her Thief subjob. Victoria, besides having Thief, has Shattering Dive, so I can lower the boss's defense for 3 turns, and he's not going to get more than just 1 turn in this fight. This will help all of my characters do more damage, and even though Victoria is not going to be chaining with me, she's going to do this once, the boss is only going to go once, and she's going to make sure he never gets another turn, so that's what she is set up for. Gilgamesh has a very important debuff in his kit as well. Kotetsu Plus is slash resistance down, so I'm going to have him do that on his first turn. And then Laswell again, in his Heir to the Blade main job, has Blade Flash Enlightened, which is an ice element debuff. So with those 3 debuffs, defense, and an ice resist. Wait, defense? Slash resist and ice resist, my chains will hit really hard, and I'll keep the chain running with Victoria. So let's go ahead and run this fight, and I'll kind of talk you through it as I'm going. All of my agility and things like that are set up for this turn order. They are not probably perfect yet, but this is also, this is just kind of an example team. So I'm going to put Victoria here. She can get in range to hit the boss from right here, no problem. I'm going to start Laswell over here because I need him to drop that ice resist on his first turn. This will help him be in range. Velric is going to start right here for me. This way he can be in range for his triple hit attack. Orin, I gave Orin the Tourmaline ring. That ring gives you +1 jump for the first turn of combat. With that ring, he can actually climb this ledge on the first turn. Or is it the jeweled ring? I think it's a Tourmaline ring. Anyway, he can actually get up this ledge on the first turn and hit the boss. So that's pretty nice because it also allows me to put Gilgamesh here so he can Kotetsu the boss on his first turn. Alternatively, Gilgamesh can also Kotetsu on his first turn from there. So I could run him here and let Victor just run up from here. It doesn't really matter. It just will matter for where the boss moves because the boss is going to target Gilgamesh on his first turn for my team. So let's go ahead and run it this way. Victor is going to run forward. I'm going to have her run to right here, and I'm going to have her do Shattering Dive. So it's the defense debuff. Now she wants to target this guy, but I'm actually going to have her target this square right here because the boss is going to move before she lands. So that's important to note. Laswell is going to run up here. I'm going to have Laswell use his Blade Flash on the boss. Note that when Laswell crits, he regains 5 AP. More on that little tip later. Gilgamesh is going to run up. Since Victor is in the air, she won't get hit by this. Here's Kotetsu, slash resist down. And just with that slash resistance debuff and the ice debuff, Gilgamesh is already hitting maximum damage on this boss. Orin, unfortunately, not in range to double attack on his first turn, but will still hit max damage on the boss with Dragon Fang. So we're off to a really good start, and then Velric can scoot up. Velric can use Drain Assault, and here you'll see some pretty big numbers. He's not actually damage capping on all 3 of those attacks because our chain isn't quite big enough yet, and our defense debuff hasn't landed, but he will be soon. There's the Shattering Dive, so Victoria is ready to go into full Victoria mode. Here's where agility tuning matters. I have her set up to steal time on the first round and then not move. This just will pay off later. Just trust me on that one for my run. So she's going to do that and stand still. Laswell's turn. I'm going to have Laswell double hit the boss, Exorcising Storm. Nice damage. He's already approaching damage cap, just as like one of the first people hitting the chain. Orin's going to move into range for Banishing Blade, and he's going to hit damage cap with both of these moves. And you can see here how we're doing 28,000 damage in attack, and we're landing multi-hit attacks with that number. That was 28,000 damage 3 times. This is how you push that score. Gilgamesh can now use Triple Trick, so here we go. Maximum damage, 1, 2, 3. And like you can see, we're just kind of off to the races. Now it's Victoria's turn again. I'm going to have her steal time, and then I'm going to give you another little tip right here. After you steal time, look at the turn order. Notice how Victoria is right now going just before the boss goes again. If she was somewhere up here and I wanted to maximize my turns, I could move her, which will cost her some CT, but I actually need her to stay still in this one, so she goes again before the boss does, so I can get off another steal time. Okay, it's time for another Drain Assault. It's a very big deal that Velric gets all 4 of his Drain Assaults cast. That's one of your biggest sources of damage. Laswell, Exorcising Storm again. Slap, slap, 28,000 damage all those times. Gilgamesh, give me another triple trick, my friend. Absolutely, he says. There's 1, 2, and 3. Okay, he's done. Orin, another double hitter. You can see, like, we're going to have a very big score. The JP high score for this fight was 1.3 million. Just to give you an example of kind of how crazy this was. Okay, here's our last steal time. I actually don't care that Victoria goes again. I don't want her to, in fact, so I'll have her move out of the way. Velric, Drain Assault. Yep, give me that damage, Velric. You give me that big amount of damage. Okay, Laswell's turn. We're going to do Blade Flash. Enlighten. Okay, Laswell right there didn't have enough AP to do his double attack again. That's an adjustment I could make. I could go look for gear or vision cards that gave me more starting AP or more AP generated so I could get another attack in. That is already a way I'm seeing with this comp to improve my score a little bit. So something to note there. Okay, Orin gets his last turn, and then unfortunately for Gilgamesh, he actually doesn't have any more triple hits left. So this would be a point where if you had like an Esper, if you're doing an element where there's an Esper that does a multi-hit attack that could work for you, that would be nice here. I'll just have him Paralyzing Edge for max damage. It's the boss's turn, but the battle's over. How much score did we get? I'm going to guess about 900k, somewhere in that range. Let's see. Give me that number. Give me that number. 906,000. So that's a pretty dang good score. If you're hitting those numbers, your guild is going to do very, very well in guild raids. Okay, next I'm going to talk about a couple pieces of gear that I think are very helpful for this. And I'm going to show you just a comp that does not take advantage of steal time on that same fight and how it can still work. Okay, let's jump back in here. Let's go to trial battle again. And this time I'm going to go to my party number 18 because, you know, I could name them all, but that would make life too easy. In this one, I'm taking advantage of a couple of things. One, Laswell is running the Jeweled Ring +6. So this is a +6 piece of gear that a lot of people won't think about. For these events, it gives crit 18, and whenever you crit, you will recover 5 AP. This is big for Laswell, who in my fights was running out of AP. Even with that massive amount of starting AP that you get on these, he was running out. So Jeweled Ring +6 might just be like secret OP for guild raids. Also, I mentioned earlier that Orin was rocking this Tourmaline ring so he could climb the mountain. I'm still going to keep using that. For Aranea, I'm going to be using a Gift Like No Other vision card. This gives 3rd times a charm, so it will take on her element and do a 3-hit piercing attack for 3 turns on the boss. Even though it's not a slash chaining attack, if she does this towards the end, when we have a nice big ice chain going already, this has the potential of hitting the damage cap if you can work it out right. So that's another way of adding a multi-hitter to her. Now, RNA is in here for a couple of reasons. In her kit right here, she has, where is it? Right? Aerial Ascension. This is an agility lowering attack. We're not using Steal Time in this fight. Instead, we are using her to lower the target's agility. She also has, and I haven't figured out a good way to add this in yet, she also has her Dragoon Dive, which lowers unit attack resist on the boss, which would also help me do some more damage in my chains. So there's just a couple of tips. Alternatively, I cannot equip it on these people because none of them can wear it. There's gear like the 5-star gear. It's called like 5 stars. Isn't that what it's called? It's a star looking piece of jewelry that gives you AP as well. We'll look at that here in a minute. It's very important for like a fire team that uses rain. I get a lot of use out of that with my rain. Now I'm gonna have Aranea start there. Gilgamesh is gonna start here. Laswell is gonna start over here so he can do his things. You've seen it before. Velric has to start here to be in range of the enemy. And then, like I said, for Orin, I start him here with the jump +1 so he can get into range of the boss as well. All right, here we go. Aranea actually steps up to right here on this map and does Aerial Ascension. Yeah, that's right, Aerial Ascension. There it is. That will target right here. Even though the boss moves, it will hit in the AoE and still get him. Laswell is going to step up. Laswell is going to do his Blade Flash Enlighten. So once again, we're going to drop the boss's ice resistance. Very nice. Gilgamesh is going to run up, go with Kotetsu Plus, slash resistance now down as well. And you can see, even though we're not chaining, we are hitting damage cap. It would be really nice if Orin could do a double hit onto that damage cap here. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite work out that way. Velric is going to start running up to here, and then he's going to do his Drain Assault. And actually, for my chainers, Velric, Orin, Laswell, Gilgamesh, the first few turns of this fight are exactly the same as the last one. Now, there's the agility debuff. Now, what do I do with Aranea? Okay, couple options. One, I could go for the Dragon Dive that lowers his unit attack resist, but instead what I'm going to do is just start building chains with her. She has 2 options. She has Rapid Piercer, which is a 2-hit attack, piercing and ice, or she has 3rd times a charm, which is a 3-hit ice attack. With the way I have it built, I would rather her use this move later. So I'm going to start with Rapid Piercer and let my Slash Chainer start with a 2 elemental chain going for them. And then they can build the Slash Chain themselves. So Orin's going to walk up, Banishing Blade. We want to get crits at this point. This is where it's really important. Notice that last one hit for max damage because it crit. This is where having some crits is just a big deal. Laswell is going to Exorcising Storm, and we are off to the max damage races. So the benefit of this run compared to the last one is that with this run, you have another unit hitting the boss, which gets you more score. The drawback is, without Steal Time, you have to reset your chain every time the boss gets a turn. So the boss's turn is restarting right now, and now we're restarting the chain. There are times where you could use a summon right here that like really dramatically lowered the boss's ice resist or whatever element you're running. It actually doesn't help me in this case. Like I've tested it, it's actually not as good as me just building up the chain again. So I'm going to do that. Velric going to go ahead and Drain Assault right here. Bang, bang, bang. Again, not max damage. So one way I could make this run better would be to up Velric's and Laswell's DPS. Now Gilgamesh, I could have Gilgamesh Triple Trick right here. Or I could have him save that and just do a paralyzing edge. If I save it for the paralyzing edge, if I have him do that and I look at the turn order here, he will go again right before the boss, which means his next triple trick will hit for more damage than his one right there would have done, which is good. Okay, now that's a mistake. I had RNA counterattack right there and it broke my chain. So that's actually terrible. Something you have to watch out for is counterattacks. That's going to hurt my run a lot. I'm going to go ahead and triple hit him right here to build up the chain a little bit more, but oh man, I might have just wrecked it for myself right there with that. That triple hit I just did with her should have been a much higher score, but because she counterattacked, she ruined it. You have to watch out for those. So that's a big oof. It hurt, it really hurt Velric's next attack as well. So I bet you that now my earlier run will be better than this run. Notice Laswell still didn't have enough AP to do more damage, so I would need to find a way again of getting him some more AP. We're going to go ahead and double hit here with Aranea. Oh man, this run is kind of busted. Let's go ahead and do a triple trick. It will still hit pretty hard, but again, not max damage every time because of that stupid counterattack that happened. Man, that's rough. That's rough. The one time in the game you don't want your counterattack to proc. So, here we go. That's kind of an example of a run without steal time, and you can see the tweaks that I would need to make. Here we go. Score 922. Even with those mess ups, I still did more damage with the no steal time run. So it is better. Here's kind of the break point for me. If your element is, if you are strong enough in your element that you have a lot of multi-hitters and you can debuff the boss enough, I think you can avoid the stealing time for the 2 steal time bosses, which are Dark Flan and Unalesca. For the bosses that you want to slow, I think you want to do a lot of the exact same things, but take advantage of slow. Slow is a huge deal in these. More big hitters, more big chains, and that is going to do it for my little guild raid guide right here. Let me show you that piece of gear I was talking about, by the way. If we go into equipment here, the 3-star piece of gear, I couldn't show you in that team builder because it's not something any of those people can equip, but this guy right here, AP cost down 20%, really nice. Take advantage of that thing if you can. Highly recommend. And there we go, guys. Good luck on your guild raids. And yeah, hopefully your scores are awesome. Hopefully my scores are awesome. And my guild's going first place in this one. So hopefully we do really good. I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.